In the previous videos, we had implemented our email scheduler controller. We had implemented our API request and response payloads. We also talked about setting up the database layer using MySQL and application properties. In this video, we'll start implementing the last part of our application, which is implementing the job. So let me show it to you right now. So we have a email job which we need to fill up. So basically we need to tell the application what happens when a Quartz job gets triggered. So when it gets triggered, it goes inside the execute internal method, and this gets invoked whenever the time comes to it. And then we use the job execution context to handle the things that happen around the Quartz application and the job. So now, first, we haven't actually run our application yet. So it's been 6 videos and we haven't even run it once. So let's first do that right now and make sure that the application is running. So for that, let's actually write a very simple get mapping. We'll just throw out a string saying that this is a get method, and we'll just run that on the browser to see whether our get API is working or not, so that we can make sure that our application is up and running. So let's do that quickly. We are get mapping. This has let's say a get, just a get should be enough, and public response entity of string. So we have a response entity which is going to be a string, and this is basically going to be a get API test. And let's implement this. So all we need to do is basically return response entity dot okay, and the body is going to be get API test pass. And yeah, have this. We are getting an error here, so let's just see what the error is. Yeah, no errors, all good to go. So this is basically our get API which you're going to use to print out get API test pass and make sure that our application is up and running. So before we run our application, make sure that your data source URL and your data source stuff is filled up. This we'll fill it up later. This part we'll do it once we start implementing our sending email logic using mail properties and Java mail sender. So for now we just need to run the application. So have your data source filled up. Let's actually go and run it now. So you can just go here and use this handy function. Okay, so before we do this, make sure that the SQL server is up and running. So let me just do it right now. Brew services start MySQL, so that when we run our application, we automatically connect to our MySQL database. Let's check that here, and so we used to set it up here as well. So let's do a refresh, and yeah, so we have our Quartz demo up and running. Now we can go ahead and start running our application. So let's get this to the side, close this, go inside Quartz Scheduler and hit run. Now once we make sure that the application is up and running, the next thing to do is to actually start implementing our email job. And in this video we'll implement the part regarding the job execution context, where we need to understand how that works. And the next video we'll actually implement the send email logic. So that is the amount of stuff we're going to do for this video. So let's wait for our application to run. So we have our Hibernate ORM running, GPA is running, we have our Quartz scheduler running locally with 5 threads, and yeah, we have our application running on port 8080. Let's quickly check this out. So 8080, we do a get, and as you can see, we get a get API test pass. That means our API, our REST application is working perfectly. Let's go ahead and close this now, and now we can start implementing our email job method. So if you remember, when we go to the controller, we are filling out some details inside a job data map. So all of the data which we fill out here, this we use it when we actually get inside the execute internal method, and we get that job data map back using the job execution context. So let's see what I mean by that. So now we do a job data map, job data map, job execution context, get merge job data map, and that is how we get back our job data map. And now basically what we do is fill up our boilerplate. So we need to extract some things here. So we need to extract a subject, which is going to be job data map dot get string, and this is going to be subject. So what we're doing here is that the job data map dot put, which we put here, we're just taking that back out in the execute internal method, and we do the same thing for the body. So we just do this as a body, and this is going to be body. And the last thing is the recipient's email. The recipient email. I'm not sure if I spelled that right, but let's just assume that I did. And oh, my bad, did not have to run this. And this is going to be email. Yeah, so let me just check that real quick here. So we have email, subject, body, all good. And now that we have the information regarding this, what we need to do is send that information to our send email logic. So we can do a send mail, and this is going to have a lot of stuff. So let's implement it here. So private void send mail. So this is going to have a from email. So it's going to have a string from email, string to email, string subject, and string body. And make sure to spell everything right. So this is basically what we have for our application. And now we need to implement send email. So before we do that, in the next video, in this video we talked about setting up our REST application. So we had our data source ready, we had our MySQL server ready, and then we used all of that to run our application and then see out the get API. Then we talked about email job. So here what we did was we talked about the execute internal method. So this method is invoked when the Quartz job is triggered. So if suppose we schedule an email to be sent at 12 a.m. in the morning, then at 12 a.m. this method starts getting invoked, and then you get the job data map, you get the subject, body, recipient email, and send that to the send email function. So in the next video we'll talk about the implementation for the send email method and see how that works. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.